It's Mindset Monday, coming at you with energetic and tactical tips to help you level up your life and your week. Let's get it. Hi, friends. I am so excited to share this episode with you because it addresses head-on a huge stigma that exists: mental health. I'll share a little bit about my own mental health struggles and journey and two of the key strategies that have helped me become better than I've ever been. If you're struggling, I hope this helps you too, and please know you're not alone. Enjoy the show. Today, we're going to talk about gratitude and having a victor mentality. I'm going to tell you the story of my absolute lowest point mentally that set the stage for leaving the corporate world and starting this podcast and how I came back from it. In December 2020, I hit emotional rock bottom. This was the third depressive episode that I've had in my life and the second within 14 months. And like past depressive episodes, it was triggered by an event. Actually, 3 events within a 24-hour period. One was my grandpa going into the hospital and knowing that the end of his time was near. And another was a very stressful event at work. So at the time for work, I was in sales at Google. Now, this was my dream job. I could not believe it when I got an offer from them, and I was so excited to start. But my timing to start this job, it turned out, was terrible. My first day was March 2nd, 2020. And if you're doing the math on that, the world shut down 1 week later, including my daughter's daycare, who at the time was about 18 months old. So here I am, the most challenging job of my career thus far and the most technical. No childcare. I was working 4 hours a day and watching my baby in shifts with my husband. And at this point, I'm the only one on my team at work who's married and has a child. So while everyone else poured themselves into work during the lockdown, I didn't have that luxury. So here's the thing. Most people, when they get hired at Google, feel some level of imposter syndrome. And at some point, they're going to feel like they are the dumbest person in the room. Now, that's probably just head trash. But in my case, that perceived gap became a real one because I wasn't able to ramp like my cohorts who started the same time. And I wasn't able to ramp like I would have been able to in normal times. So fast forward to December. I have a very unpleasant conversation with my boss about my performance thus far. And as someone who had been a top performer in every role prior to this, it literally spun me out. My entire identity was around achievement and performance. And when that didn't come to pass, I got hit with depression and an existential crisis, to be quite frank. So you're probably wondering what this has to do with gratitude or being a victor. So here's the thing. It all comes down to one thing. When you're in the messy, at your lowest, do you believe it's happening to you or happening for you? Even in that pit of depression, I knew this was happening for me, and I was determined to find out why. So I mentioned one of the events that kicked me into depression was my grandpa going into the hospital. He passed within a few days, and his death led to several epiphanies for me. But the main one was, how am I spending my life? And the answer I honestly gave to that question was one I didn't like. I was running myself ragged, trying to build someone else's dream to boost earnings and share price. And at what cost? Crippling anxiety and depression? No time freedom to be with my daughter while she's little? I knew something had to give, but I felt completely lost and in a fog. We all know the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing repeatedly over and over and over, expecting a different result. Well, the same thing I did repeatedly was just try to power through when I felt depressed, to exercise, sleep, eat, or drink it away and just keep going. Well, this time I took a different approach. I told you about my grandpa who was a farmer in Iowa, and I'll tell you about him on a future episode in more detail because there is so much to be learned from his life and experience. But let's talk about the other side of my family for a minute. I am a first-generation American. My dad immigrated from Sicily at the age of 14, so came by himself from Italy to the south side of Chicago to send money back home. Now, here's the thing. If you are Italian, you know you do not talk about mental health. Medication and therapy are seen as things for weak people. I bought into that for a long time, and I prided myself on powering through until I couldn't anymore. So I did what was at one time unthinkable. I took a 3-month leave of absence to heal myself. I went to a psychiatrist to see if medication was the correct course of action. I deactivated all social media. I devoured books on self-help, personal development, and spirituality. I took long, hot baths. I exercised. I meditated. I exercised and meditated on the beach. I went to therapy. And you know what? I got better. So how can this apply to you? Personally, I know far too many people whose mental health is greatly suffering because of work. And I know not everyone who hears this, who is in that situation, is able to leave that job. So I am here to help. If you are in this boat, a gratitude practice and a victor mentality may help you tremendously. First, let's talk about victor mentality. This is the opposite of victim mentality. When we partake in victim mentality, we throw a pity party for ourselves. We blame everyone or everything around us without accepting our own role in the situation. We say things like, "This always happens to me," or "This isn't fair." And we've all been there. No judgment. In contrast, a person with victor mentality knows there is a lesson in whatever is happening. They know it's happening for them. They take responsibility for their part in the situation. They know vulnerability is strength, and they ask for help when they need it. Whether it's asking loved ones, colleagues, or God, spirit, the universe, whatever you call it, to assist, they don't try to go it alone. They look for things to be grateful for while they're climbing up the mountain, and they know blessings abound, and that this experience or inconvenience, however trying, is building character, grit, and making them better. I had a teacher whose wall in the classroom said, "Life is only 10% what happens to you. It is 90% how you react to it." And I totally believe that. So if you're going through something right now, you can control your reaction to it. And I want you to do the following. First, start a gratitude practice. Write down 3 things every morning that you are grateful for. Even better if you do it again before you go to sleep. By doing this, you will literally rewire your brain to look for silver linings and things to be grateful for. I cannot understate how drastically this small habit has changed my life. In fact, I can find the positive in everything to the point that it's probably annoying to some people, even in bad traffic, which I'm in Southern California, so bad traffic is just a part of life. I will think to myself, you know what? Maybe this traffic caused me to miss getting in an accident. I always find a silver lining, assume everything is happening for me and my benefit, and I am better off for it. Second, ask yourself these questions. Even if I had nothing to do with causing my current situation, am I taking ownership of it, or am I blaming it on someone or something else? If I did have something to do with my current situation, how can I avoid doing that again? What changes need to be made? Be honest, but also be compassionate with yourself here. Make sure to give yourself grace. We are all improving every day, and the only person that you should be comparing yourself to is who you were yesterday versus who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow. So be honest but gentle with yourself. The next question to ask, am I getting help? If not, what can I delegate? What can I outsource and hire out? Do my friends and family and or colleagues know so that they can support me? Am I relying solely on myself to overcome this? Or in addition to asking for help, am I giving it up to God and leaning into my faith to help carry me through? The next question, what's the lesson in this? Did I need to slow down, be humbled? Do I need to live in a different way? Next one. What do I want to be the outcome? What habits, attitudes, actions, and behaviors do I need to change to get there? When I asked myself these questions, I realized that I needed to do a few things. First, cut out anything from my life that didn't bring me joy. If it wasn't a resounding yes, it became a no. It's okay to resign from volunteer posts, jobs, relationships, etc., if they are draining your energy instead of adding to it. So if you are anxious or depressed, the first thing you need to do is expand your capacity. And the way that you do that is by trimming the fat. Cut out what does not bring you joy and happiness. The next thing I realized I needed to do is prioritize my family and relationships above all else. My grandpa, he was an absolutely incredible man. And after he passed, I thought a lot about how I felt around my grandparents. Grandma and grandpa, they were always present with us. They were never buried in a phone. They were never disinterested. When we were there, they were all in. We had their undivided attention. And people remember how you make them feel. If you're on your phone all the time around your kids or your partner, that does not make them feel good. I realized I had been wasting so much precious time with my daughter and husband by not being present with them. And I was doing this more often than I would like to admit. So on that note, I put my phone down. Being totally real with you, I will always be real with you. That is a guarantee. I have noticed lately I have been on my phone more than I should be and more than I want to be. So I'm working on reeling that back again. But before I had this come to Jesus with myself after my grandpa's passing, I was always on my phone. Which, quick side note on that, if you are listening to this and you're part of a network marketing company, or really any company for that matter, we can do all of our business from a smartphone, right? So it's so easy to be on it all the time under the guise of being productive or working. But really be thoughtful and strategic about when you do that, and make sure that you're taking time to just be present and enjoy that time with your family and friends. The next thing I did is I took time to do self-care, to take time off. Now, I know what a privilege that is to have worked at a company that had a leave of absence if you were undergoing mental health struggles, right? So taking a medical leave, if it's available to you and this is resonating and something that you think you need, take the time off. It's a luxury that, if you have it, use it. That's what it's there for. I also took time to take baths, right? To read while my daughter was at daycare. I sought treatment through therapy and medication, and there's no shame in any of these things. Do not feel guilty or ashamed for doing any of them because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So in closing, stop what you're doing if you're able and think about what you're exceedingly grateful for. Think about a time when you went through incredible hardship. What was the blessing that came from it? What better door opened because another closed? Remind yourself that you create your reality for better or for worse, and you are the victor of your story, the protagonist. You get to write your story every day. If you don't like how this story is going, what can you change so that you love the plot and the outcome? Before we sign off, repeat after me. I am powerful. I am capable. I am brave. I am beautiful. I am loved. I am supported. I am abundant. And finally, I am worthy. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If today's episode added value to your life in some way, please subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with someone who needs this. I'd love to connect with you on Instagram and hear how the show has inspired you. So tag me or slide into the DMs. Find me at Corporate Dropout Official or Alacia Citro. That's ALESSIACITRO and 2 underscores. Until next time, remember that you're a badass. Stay focused, stay hungry, and dare to drop out.